my gosh, Matthew. I would love that. I watch that cartoon religiously. Hi, my name is Dan. I am running a game of Surge Protectors here on the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online gaming community, and we play games frequently throughout the month. Surge Protectors is a playset that is attached to the Paragon system, which is based on the game Aegon by John Harper. I have the pleasure today of playing with Darren, Nicholas, and Matthew, and they are going to introduce themselves and their characters. Darren, can you give us a quick introduction of you and your character?
Yeah, I'm Darren. I am kind of new to the narrativist games, but I've been playing RPGs for 37 years. Yeah, I enjoy the Gauntlet a lot. My character is Telecast. He is a TV news truck who also turns into a giant robot with a shield.
And that's all you need to know about Telecast. That's awesome. Thank you. Matthew?
Hi, I'm Matthew. I go by he, him pronouns. I am a erstwhile video game critic, pundit, and commentator. And today I will be playing Pathfinder, a sort of a roguish, maybe careless and reckless kind of robot who is prone to rushing in back when he lived in the home planet of the Surge Protectors. But here on Earth, the Surge Protectors have counted on him on his speed because he transforms into a Chevrolet Corvette, a red hot Corvette, to act as the team's scout, surveyor, someone who can really get in and get out, the A-wing of the team, so to speak.
Nice. Cool. Thank you. Nicholas.
Hi, I'm Nicholas, he, him pronouns. I am playing Gyrobot, a search and rescue helicopter. When I transform out of helicopter mode, I grab my two propeller blades and they become swords.
That's all you need to know about Gyrobot. That's fantastic.
Correct.
Thank you. The premise of this game, it's 1984, a fantastic year, and the Earth is under attack from a silent invader. Imperions, mechanoids from the metal warp dimension, use their gravimetric beacons to launch incursions into our reality. Emulating our technology, they hide among us, slowly siphoning Earth's natural resources to fuel their conquest of metal warp and fulfill an ancient prophecy of destruction, known as the Surge. Humanity as we know it would perish if not for their own champions, rogue metal warp defenders who have pledged to protect the Earth from incursions by their own kin, the Surge Protectors. So we've met our three Surge Protectors, and we are going to be doing our first incursions shortly. But first, I want to get a sense of where the headquarters for the Surge Protectors is. Nicholas, what do you think? Where's the secret headquarters of the Surge Protectors?
I think it's someplace like Iron Mountain, which is a abandoned missile silo that got turned into a commercial endeavor. So I imagine out somewhere there's this ex-military, it's safe from nuclear weapons complex, and that's where we've established our headquarters.
And it's under a mountain.
Yes, it's definitely under a mountain.
Is this like, when I think of places like that, I think of like Colorado. Is it sort of in that neck of the woods? Is it, that's where the mountains are? Is it in an Appalachian mountain?
I think it, ooh, yeah, let's go Europe. Let's go the Eiger. It's inside the Eiger.
Love it. And are, Matthew, are there humans that are aware of us, or do they largely not even know of our existence?
I like to go with, no offense to everybody, but I like to go with the concept, pushed forward by the wretched Michael Bay movies, which is that generally, at least for the first movie, generally no one really knows of the Surge Protectors. They're dismissed as a myth, as the territory of kooks and conspiracy theorists. But there does exist maybe one small bureau that is aware of our existence. Maybe even at this stage in their in the timeline, they themselves are also laughed off as a kook division of the bureaus.
I like the idea that maybe they have some suspicions, but they have not made contact with you.
There's a Fox Mulder guy there who's just like, you don't understand, robots took my sister.
All right, I like it.
They turned her into pure energon.
I love it.
Oh, even I'm grossed out by that concept.
I just read the comment about the shopping mall, and I love it. So I would like to revise my statement. The mountains in the background and our headquarters is the shopping mall.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to overstep. I typed it out before you finished. That also good idea.
No, but I like this better. So if you don't mind a little retcon, I'd like shopping mall / missile silo to be the headquarters.
For those who will be watching this after the fact, I basically suggested that a missile silo or any other, abandoned military, facility that was turned into a shopping mall would be like the
Right.
most visual representation of the end of the Cold War.
Yeah.
So did this
I
really
think it's
happen?
in the same neighborhood though. I think we're still like at the bottom of the Eiger. There's this little shopping mall in a town. And the network probably goes into the mountain, but our point of ingress and egress is the shopping mall.
Nice.
Is this a mountain in Switzerland? My mountain
Germany, I believe.
my mountain geography is atrocious.
Yeah, let me look it up. I'm pretty sure it's Germany.
They look very close to each other. All right, it's EIGER.
Yep.
I kid you not. When I was a kid, my pediatrician was named Dr. Iger.
I think it's Switzerland actually. So
Yeah.
I watched a movie that had Germans climbing the Eiger.
Okay.
So they must have been on a journey.
Yeah, it feels like it. I love it. I did not know that they turned missile silos into shopping malls. Is that a thing that happened?
Yes, but in our world, no. But in this world, yes.
Gotcha. All right. I'm there. I just felt like I might have been missing something. Do they like is the shopping mall abandoned or is it like an active shopping mall?
It's active. That's our front. So you've got people bagging groceries and whatnot that have to go through deep background checks before they're qualified to operate in this particular mall.
Well, and I also feel like maybe like when the ground vehicles arrive, they transform and they go into the garage and they just keep going deeper and deeper and then
Yeah.
the secret entrance. Does
Yeah.
that sound right?
Yeah.
Which means every episode we recycle the same animation of us
Yep.
launching out of the.
So true.
They spent a lot of money on how smooth that animation is, and it's
They're
like,
disturbingly high.
Why is
budget
there a
compared to the
helipad on top of this mall? I just
Right.
don't get it.
Yeah, everyone gets really worried because there's this search and rescue helicopter keeps showing up. But there's
No, the helicopter passes itself off as the one that flies in the mall executives.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he just owns a search and rescue company on the side, and he uses it when it's not.
All right. We're gonna need to give the shopping mall a name, and I'm not gonna be the one to do it in German or German. German. So, Darren, are there other surge protectors, or are you three the only ones who have made it through?
I'd like to think that there's like a team of them on each continent.
Okay, nice. And I would assume that maybe you have like a a commanding officer type person, like from the old cartoons, it would be like the Optimus Prime. Does that sound does that make sense? Darren, I'm asking. You
Yep.
like the idea of a leader?
Oh, me?
Yeah, I like it.
Oh God. Okay. I'll do it.
No, I'm asking, do you think that there is a leader that you report into whenever you come back from the mission?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Matthew has suggested Septimus Alpha. Does that name work for everyone? All right. Darren,
I like the alpha. Works for me.
What is Darren? What is Septimus Alpha transform into? What is their vehicle?
Huh, that is a good one, Septimus. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Septimus Alpha is actually a military vehicle, like an MLRS launcher or something.
All right. They're super puzzled when this thing shows up to the mall.
Oh, I thought maybe we reported to somebody who's like not even in Europe or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I like
yeah,
that. We're in an outpost.
Yeah, you're in an outpost.
That's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, good. I was gonna say like a tour bus, a tourist bus, but I like military vehicle. Are there any other robots, Darren, who are stationed here at the secret shopping mall? Or is it just you three?
I'm thinking maybe we have like a robot who transforms into kind of like a tool truck. Who
Okay, cool.
That's the person who like repairs us and adds welds extra crap on us for the particular episode or whatever.
Yeah, they're the quartermaster.
An eccentric engineer, quartermaster, an eccentric engineer character, robot who is probably voiced by some, off the wall character actor.
Right. Definitely has a British accent and is definitely disgusted with you all when you come back.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna need a name for this quartermaster.
Let's see. I'm voiced by Derek Jacobi, and I'm trying to think of the robot's name.
Jacobi, oh wow, he's still alive, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's older than dirt, but still alive, as far as I know.
Well, he needs a good gig, so I feel like robot voice acting is his thing.
Great job, Nicholas, giving Dan a hard time with that one.
Oh no, I'm thinking about it.
That is just what it translates. I was impressed by the translation, so I had to share it.
What?
I want to kind of shorten that a smidge.
They just call it the EKZ.
I like that, EKZ.
That sounds like a military zone.
Oh, is that the tool bot?
Oh no, we were thinking that's the name of the mall.
Oh, the mall. Okay.
That's literally that's the literal translation of German mall. Einkaufszentrum.
The Mall of Switzerland is just called Mall of Switzerland.
Yep.
So this could just be Mall of Eiger Mall.
Oh yeah,
Let me try. I think I can figure something out.
All right.
I'm thinking of the non-player character bot as Dremel, maybe.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. What a great name, Dremel. That is Mr. Dremel. To you, please. Okay, cool. All right, so we've got you in this underground garage through a secret entrance. 10 stories above you is a bustling mall in at the foot of the Eiger Mountains. Dremel is increasingly concerned that a certain teenage girl has been hanging out a lot at the mall, sniffing around the secret entrance. And when a call comes in from, I should figure out which scene we're going to do, from Septimus Alpha. Let's see. Hang on. Yeah, let's do this one. Septimus Alpha calls you up and says that a very powerful human has learned of the Wire Empire and offered them access to the methane gases beneath the rural town of Rascal in exchange for metal warp technology unknown in 1984. He plans to flood the market with new inventions and grow his already vast wealth into a global monopoly. His experiments integrating metal warp tech are dangerous at best, but Soothslayer, his Empyrean counterpart, assures him that with enough testing, he'll master their technology. So we've got this evil CEO named Plutonius Steele, has made a deal with Soothslayer, who is a Empyrean robot, and Septimus Prime is saying you need to go to the town of Rascal to defeat Soothslayer and the Plutonius Steele, this CEO. And with that, it's I've got 2 past the hour, 9:02 here on the East Coast. Let's take a 10-minute break, and we will figure out what we're doing after that. So I will see you at 12 past the hour. Sound good? All right, cool. See you in 10. All right, we are back. So Matthew in the chat had this good idea. You've got a cargo plane named Charon. Is that how we're going to say it? Charon?
I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's a Greek ferryman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a cargo plane, and Charon is bringing you to your drop point. I kind of want to hear all of you have a little bit of a conversation in the plane before the drop. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about why you chose the components that you chose. Matthew, can I put Pathfinder on the spot to go first?
No problem. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, my concept for Pathfinder is a recon type character, or strike fast kind of character. So I've chosen the transconduit scanners simply because they give him good reconnaissance options. I kind of imagine it as like the guy who goes out in the field with a telephoto lens, and brings back the intel. Spark engines will help him move even faster, and photonic carbines for some good old pew-pews.
Everyone needs some guns, yeah.
Yeah, and the other guys have some really badass weapons, so I don't want to step on that.
How long has Pathfinder been here on Earth? Is this their first mission, or have they been around for a while?
I'd say let's make it more like a year one kind of situation, where it's like, this isn't his first week in the job, but he's definitely less experienced than most other people. Maybe he was one of the last to leave the planet and get over here. Okay,
cool. You were using he just then, but you've written.
Oh they them. Yeah.
Okay. Whichever you prefer. Okay, cool. Darren, tell us about Telecast's components.
Oh, okay. He has the extra armor and stuff because he typically likes to shield innocent bystanders and stuff like that. And the holographic projectors are kind of used to like draw in the wrong people or right people.
Oh, nice.
Whatever whatever is needed. And yeah, just extra scanning equipment to hopefully detect our robotic adversaries if and when they show up.
Yeah, should they appear. Love it. And how long has Telecast been on Earth?
I was thinking maybe a while, like he started out in Minnesota and it became too overrun with the enemy, so he retreated to Europe.
You got reassigned. Yeah.
Yep.
Love it. Gyrobot, how did you pick
Gyrobot.
your components?
Yeah. So the holographic projectors definitely chosen to confuse the enemy. I want to see like a fleet of rescue helicopters out there. The Nexus drones, it's really important to be able to interact with the adversary's technology.
Yeah.
And so that's, instead of hitting them hard, I like seeing them not able to strike and just fall to the ground.
Nice.
And then the photonic carbines, I am struggling remembering what those are.
Those are just guns.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, you need guns.
Yeah. Even if you're a search and rescue helicopter, you need
Correct.
guns.
But no bullets, only laser beams, because it's the 80s.
Correct, yes.
And they're either blue or red.
Yes.
Gyrobot, are you arriving? Is the team arriving in the during the day or at night at Rascal?
This is where we get that sunset scene that we were talking about earlier. So it's just at the edge of the daytime,
Okay,
preparing for
we're
night.
we're
And
at
I would like to also say that Gyrobot is old guard for the mall. He's been there for generations as far as humans are concerned.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. You've actually seen presidents change.
Yes.
Has Septimus Alpha always been your commander, or have you?
No, that's new within the last 100 years, but he's good.
Actually, I was thinking about making Septimus she, her.
Okay, she is
Okay.
new within the last 100
Yes.
years.
Yeah.
All right.
Where did we say that Septimus was based out of? Because I'm imagining there used to be a European headquarters and it probably had some bad things happen and now we're reporting to a new headquarters.
Yeah, where's kind of the main base of?
South America.
Okay, I love it.
You said what was that? You said that Gyrobot's been around for like a while and that Septimus is within the 100 years. So, I'm kind of imagining that, not to get too deep here, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh no. To what guilt does Septimus Alpha feel over World War II and that?
So I think Septimus may have been operating in that other area as a leader of a smaller troop for a longer time. But I think that Europe lost its headquarters and now reports to Septimus.
Maybe she was like, that's the humans' problem. Or maybe there was a shadow war going on during World War I and World War II, where she was trying to prevent the humans, any humans, Axis or allies, from making use of metal warp technology.
Yeah.
She was
I like that.
like
I like that.
she was like busy. All right.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that specificity you gave, Dan, because it allows us to talk about that stuff without minimizing the seriousness of those conflicts.
Right.
Yeah, because that would be a little insensitive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm imagining like the grown-up version of the show. The robots had philosophical discussions about whether they should intervene or not, but ultimately they had to make the decision that they were not going to intervene; they were just going to prevent the humans from making use of metal warp technology, and both the Axis and the Allies were trying to do it. So
Yeah.
all right. So as Charon kind of approaches, I assume you've asked them to not get too close because you don't want the humans to see you, but you are seeing smoke rising from one corner of the town where there are a number of warehouses. You see some technology being set up. It's not metal warp technology, but it is very modern technology that's sort of like mining equipment that's trying to get at some of the gas that's underneath. But of course, as the gas is escaping, it's wreaking havoc throughout the town. As you get closer, you see that the warehouses are, one of the warehouses is on fire. Just as you're approaching, another enormous explosion happens. Your sensors tell you that there are humans inside of these buildings, these warehouses that are blowing up because of the methane gas. So that's the situation. How do you want to handle it? We'll basically go around the table and describe kind of what each of you is doing. I will then roll difficulty, and then we will roll your dice pools to kind of see how it transpires. So I'll go in character keeper order. Darren, what do you want to do? What is Telecast going to do about this?
So, Telecast would probably pick like one of the warehouses that's on fire and would try to just get people to evacuate using like a loudspeaker. Please report to the evac vehicle parked outside of the south entrance. And just sort of like leave like doors open and stuff on the van, so people will get in and get out of the kind of the blast zone.
Love it. And Matthew, what's Pathfinder going to do?
I think Pathfinder is going to try to. Wait, am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Pathfinder is going to try to find a way to blow away the smoke and sort of like clear a path for everyone. I'm not sure how I do that mechanically in this game.
You just say you're going to do it, and then we'll figure out what the dice are. So
Sure. So wait, just to be clear, telecast is basically redirect is using his broadcast to sort of like say evacs this way, right?
Yep.
Okay, so here's what I'll do instead. What Pathfinder will do is rush into the zone and sort of open doors and basically do the flash maneuver, which is come in, try to get as many passengers as possible and bring them to safety and just keep doing it over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're also going to serve as an evacuation vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, great. And do you have any sort of means for fooling the humans, because this is going to be a car driving itself? Do you need to fool the humans to realize that it's not a car driving itself?
Oh yeah. I don't have any such tool actually. So it's just gonna be either someone's gonna help me out of this, or I'll have to convince them to have faith in the divine intervention of an automated vehicle, which I'm sure they heard about in the tabloids.
I'm gonna give the humans illusion of control. Like, I mean, I have a steering wheel as part of my disguise. So I have a feeling that, they may drive erratically in this situation. So they may just magically not panic brake occasionally and stuff like that. But I'll at least like try to respond to feedback from the gas pedal and
Okay, nice.
yeah.
Sometimes I feel like my car today is doing that for me. Yep. Okay, great. And Gyrobot, what are you doing?
I am. There's got to be some body of water close to this thing. And so I imagine that I'm doing that water lift and drop to try and maybe, okay, so you got to have an escape route. And so I imagine that some parts of it are too hot, too close to flame. And so kind of helping clear that pathway
By dumping water.
by dumping water. Yeah.
Love it. That sounds great. Okay, cool. So I'm going to make this a human affairs challenge.
Mhm.
You'll all be rolling your human affairs dice. You do have the option of adding more dice to another D8 or a D8 to the pool if that's not your D8. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm going to just roll for difficulty, and the way this works is depending on the different challenge, I put together a dice pool. I roll 2 or more dice. I choose the highest one and I add 5 to it. So I'm going to roll 2d8 and I said I'm going to roll 2d8. There we go. So my highest die was a 4, so I add 5. So you all are just trying to beat a 9, which is really not too hard. So what we'll do is we'll go around the table and put together your dice pools. Each put together a dice pool and do the roll. We'll determine who wins after that. But because this is a 9, if you roll the highest, you will get 9 points, 9 essentially experience points or victory points. So there is a little bit of a competitive aspect here where you're each trying to roll the highest so you can get the most points. We'll record those points in the resistance row. That's row 4 of the spreadsheet. So Darren, I'll start with you. You've done this before, but I will narrate it anyway, just so Nicholas and Matthew can follow along. You always get your name die, or your resistance die in this case. So that's a D6. Because you are in your TV news truck form, you get to add your alternate form die, which is another D6. We said this was a human affairs roll, so you will add, and you've got a D8 in human affairs, so you will add a D8 to this. And now you've got a choice to make. You can burn one of your components to add a D4 to the roll. Is that something you want to do?
I think I'll just go with 2d6 and a d8.
Okay.
I will go with the 2d6 and a d8, and I will burn the well, not burn, but I will spend the spark engines to make sure that I'm able to be as efficient with my speed as much as possible.
Okay. There are other choices that you can make. So let's why don't we do this just to make sure we're all kind of getting the rolls right. I'll have Darren do his roll, and then I'll help you all assemble your dice pools as well. Does that sound all right?
All right, cool.
Okay. So Darren, are you familiar with this dice roller? You are. Look at you. 1d8, 2d6. Perfect. And you rolled.
It added it all together. It's actually a 13.
Okay. All right, great. So I'm going to find a way to write this down so I can keep track. right. So Matthew, we can come to you now. You'll roll the d6 for your resistance die. You'll roll the d6 for your Corvette form. You roll a d6 for human affairs. So that's 3d6. And then yes, you can spend one of your components to add a d4.
All right. Let's see if I wrote this correctly.
But there are other choices that you can make. So do you want to
Sorry,
burn one of those components?
didn't I just do that with the
Well, yeah. Oh, it's hard to spell this out, but yeah. So basically what we're going to do is you add up the two highest dice. So you add up the 3 and the 4 from the d6, and then you always add the d4. So it's complicated. So if you have a pool of a bunch of dice and a d4, you take the two highest dice from your pool, and then you always add the d4. So in this case, you rolled a 3 and a 4. That's a 7 plus 3 is a 10, which means you were victorious, but you did not exceed Darren's roll. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. So which of your components did you use?
I used the spark engines.
So we're going to
uncheck. Check that out.
Yep, yeah. Perfect. That's great. All right, Nicholas, it is your turn. There are the one thing that we haven't done yet is you can mark two more things you can do. You can mark a charge, which is the row below the components, to add another domain die, and you can spend a bond to use their resistance die in your pool. So you've got your D6 resistance die. You've got your D6 for your search and rescue helicopter die. You've got a D6 for your human affairs, and then you can choose to add a component, choose to spend a charge, or choose to spend a bond as well.
And so I'm curious how that charge works. Does that add a die and then you still just keep the highest 2?
Yes, you always keep just the highest 2. Yeah.
So it'd be another D6. I'll go for that extra. Did I get that right?
You could choose any domain. So you would probably choose your D8.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will do that and make this a little bit of a beyond limits. So you've got like this helicopter's just moving unnaturally fast and just leaving like a trail of red streak across the sky as it moves back and forth between the water and the fires.
I'm also imagining that maybe you don't have like a built-in water thing. And so you've had to kind of transform part of your body.
Yeah. So like the bottom of the helicopter just drops, and I'm using the bottom part of where people could go as bucket material, just to scoop.
All right, so you're rolling 3d6 and a d8, and you're still going to add the highest 2, and you're not going to spend any of your components, right?
Correct, yeah. So that is 12.
Yes, exactly. All right. So good news is you were all successful. So the way this works now is each of you gets to describe your success, what happened. And we start with the lowest roll. So that would be Matthew. And then we'll come to Nicholas, and then we'll go to Darren, and then I can then describe any other consequences. And once we do that description, I will then distribute the resistance points that everybody gets. So Matthew, you're up. What does this look like with you rescuing people fleeing the warehouse?
I would say that cinematic style, I guess it would be, you cut to these like civilians, because these are apartment buildings, am I right?
These are just warehouses.
Warehouses, sorry.
Yeah, so these are workers coming out of the warehouse.
So workers coming out. Yeah, and it's like, they see all the fire, and as a pulsing 80s vaporwave music, kicks up, the Corvette, comes in through the smoke and the fire, and just opens its doors and says, "Come with me if you want to live." Oh my God, I can't believe I said
Yes.
that. And
Wrong
packs
accent
in,
though.
packs in, 5, people, and drives off, and repeats the motion, in as, I don't know, sexy and stylish a manner as possible.
Right. Is there
Yeah.
skidding? Is there skidding involved?
It is not yet the year 2000, so drifting has not been discovered by Americans. And not until the 2007 movie Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, yeah, it's sad but true. You know what?
Yeah,
I was playing an Xbox racing game in 2001 or 2002 that definitely had drifting.
Yes, I can tell you that. That's why us Asians, when Tokyo Drift came out, we were just like, "Oh, you guys are adorable."
What took you so long? Were any of the humans suspicious of this seemingly self-driving Corvette?
Um, okay, maybe this is a bit of a too much of a input. Let me know. Maybe they already have suspicions that Plutonia Steel is developing automated cars, right? So
Nice.
maybe they've just like written it off and saying like whatever, and maybe a small percentage of them are walking away with the image of good guy Plutonia Steel, employing his technology in the services of the worker.
Love it. Okay, great. So that was Matthew. Matthew, you get, hang on, I want to make sure I get this right. I always forget. Yeah, so you earn half the amount of difficulty points. So you will earn, and we'll round it up. So you get 5, because we take 9, we divide that by 2, and we round up, you get 5. So because you were victorious, but you were not the best, you didn't roll highest. Nicholas, you are next. Tell us about Gyrobot's success here.
Yeah, so as we described, the copter is coming across. I'm going to say the front of it opens for that scoop.
Okay.
And we're flying back to the town. I can see Pathfinder in the distance. I can see that the road is just ablaze and they haven't got there yet. And so that's where I'm going to make my first drop, is just to wipe out the fire, clear the path for Pathfinder, rinse and repeat a couple times to also clear a path for Telecaster, and drench a couple people and a cat that were getting too close to the fire.
Nice. Just a sec, I'm answering Matthew's question. It's line 4 of the spreadsheet. I recorded the 5 points for you there. Basically, when you get to, I think it's 40, your resistance die goes up. So that's how that works. Nicholas, I'm going to say that Gyrobot, in kind of going back and forth, maybe discovers it's a small town, but there's like an office complex here. And you see that that's where Plutonius Steel is kind of observing everything. I'm going to say maybe you don't detect the presence of any metal warp technology around him yet. No robots, no nothing, but you see him sort of observing you all very carefully as you are rescuing this warehouse.
Yeah. Is it safe to assume that I can communicate with my comrades fairly easily over comms or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, so I call it out the second I see it. Oh, I see Plutonius Steel. There he is. I'm sending you GPS coordinates.
Perfect. Okay, and now telecast, as the one who scored highest, you get to go last and describe your victory here.
Okay, I'm thinking that the people hear the loudspeaker inside of the warehouse. They come out to an empty vehicle and get in. A bunch of people cram in, and the one of the people stomps on the gas pedal, and he responds and takes off. And as it's going down the street to some synthesizer music, there's like sparks, and the person slams on the brakes, and he has like an extra robotic voice say anti-lock brake system. And there's an explosion a few seconds later, and the human jerks the wheel, and he says something like anti-swerve mode to make the human think this is just like some kind of fancy high-tech van they haven't seen before. And they eventually like skid to a stop at the other side of town, and he just like opens the doors, and they get out, and they're like talking and high-fiving and stuff, and he just sort of starts slowly creeping away in the off camera.
Love it. You what sort of location do you drop them off at? Is it some kind of shopping mall? Is it a big parking lot? Is it a school? Is it, what do you think?
It's nighttime and we're on the edge of town, so like bar and grill.
Okay. A biker bar and grill? Or just like a family, closest to a family restaurant this place gets.
It's Europe, so I would imagine a lot of family restaurants have beer and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
I assumed we were in America. Like
Yeah.
I think we're in America.
Oh, I thought the Eiger Mountains thing made it. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
So Eiger definitely is in Europe, but I'm pretty sure we went to America for this mission.
We were.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it could be IHOP.
Or it could be a nice cat there. It could be like, maybe like a trucker bar, like one of those really big bars.
I like it.
But it's still a small mom and pop operation.
And as you're depositing the last crew, there are a couple of well, actually, hang on. Yeah, you sort of sense some metal warp technology in the parking lot, and in fact, as the humans kind of go into the bar, and you're pulling away, 3 of the motorcycles that are parked out front transform into Empyrean robots, and they start to pursue you. But before we get to that vignette, just to kind of round out where we landed, because Darren rolled highest, he gets all 9 points. And again, this game is a little on the competitive side because you're all trying to roll highest to get the most points. If anyone had failed, that is, they didn't beat the difficulty number, nothing terrible happens to you, but you only get 1 resistance point. So if you roll low, you're going to accumulate those resistance points slower, and those resistance points are helpful for advancing.
And sorry, this might be a little out of like the game flow proper, but is this also how it works for the other Paragon games?
Yeah.
Wow, really interesting, actually. I think
it'll
be really interesting to, we joked and jest earlier, but like, I think this would actually really work for a Fast and Furious game.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But
yeah, with my home group, when we played Aegon, I didn't use this. Basically, everyone just got the difficulty points unless they failed, or the same number of points, because the competitive aspect just didn't work very well in the home group. The kids love it. The kids don't care at
Yeah,
all.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but the grown-ups really struggle with it. But I kind of like it. It adds an interesting dimension to it. So we've got a bead on plutonious steel, but I think these 3 motorcycles are kind of more urgent. They transform and they start driving after you, Telecast. They start to overtake you. They do that really annoying thing where they kind of surround you. How are you signaling your compatriots? What are you doing to get their attention?
I think with this being a news truck, he just like transmits video and audio to them.
Nice.
And coordinates. And then I don't know, I don't want to get into another scene, but
well, I was thinking we might do one more short scene and then
okay.
wrap it up. One more roll. Would that be okay with you all?
Yeah. Well, I just didn't want to narrate too far.
Oh no, that's fine. That's all good. Yeah, I think I feel like maybe you want to lead them to a more secluded part of town. What is whereabouts do you take them?
Being on the edge of town, I want to maybe take them out of town if I can.
Okay.
Just to avoid, we can go deal with plutonious
Steel.
Separately.
Yes.
But get these guys out of town so humans don't get hurt and we don't get exposed too much.
Okay. Yeah, and in fact, I think this is kind of a Midwestern town, and you end up maybe in sort of a forested area, and the road sort of gives out kind of where you are into more of a dirt road. Gyrobot, how do you zero in on Telecast there?
Yeah, so I was definitely distracted by Plutonius to the point that I kind of missed the red flashing light for a little while.
Okay.
But once I recognized, oh wait, there's a colleague in trouble. I've got that video feed, and I recognize this road leading out of town as I've been flying over it, gathering that water. So prior knowledge is how I'm able to zero in on it.
Fantastic. And Pathfinder, how do you come after Telecast?
I think what happens is that Pathfinder will look at the movements and the on the road and try to identify his unique driving and wheel signature.
I love that. Yeah. So you all end up kind of in this forest when Gyrobot and Pathfinder arrive. Telecast is surrounded by these 3 motorcycle robots who have transformed. They are wielding. Let's see, they're wielding kind of. Let's see, maybe they use their wheels as kind of their wheels kind of pop out some blades, and so.
Ooh, can I suggest something?
Yeah, go for it.
What if they're all Japanese motorcycles like Kawasaki's and whatever, and they're the thing that holds their wheels, they transform into katanas.
Okay, love it.
Ninja style swords.
Yeah, and they that's why they are super out of place in this town.
Yeah, it's the 80s.
Yeah, so they've got their wheels kind of popping out the back, and they've got these katana swords that are based on their wheel covers. And they are circling Telecast. Telecast, how are you going to deal with this situation? This is, by the way, this is going to be a robot fists domain challenge.
I was thinking maybe like when he thinks he's gonna like end the pursuit, he just like slams on the brakes and lets one of the motorcycles slam into him because
Nice.
he's like an armored van and they're a motorcycle. And you know, there's like a big guitar riff when the impact happens. And he rolls out of the impact and transforms into a robot.
Beauty, love it. Are you fisticuffs? Are you shooting? Are you? What do you think you're gonna do in terms of?
Oh,
use
I was
your-
counting like the impact. That would be like my first
I see.
fisticuff kind of
I see.
thing.
Okay, cool, love it. Okay, great. And Pathfinder, what does your attack look like here? Matthew, you're muted.
So what Pathfinder does is when he sees, God, I'm already annoyed with Pathfinder for thinking of this, but like when he sees them draw out their swords, he adopts like a karate pose and goes like, "Hi-ya!" and like leaps into action, like doing, you know, I guess robot martial arts, but mimicking his favorite lame ass, you know, chop socky films.
Right. Even though he's a Chevy Corvette, that's how he behaves.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So, and Gyrobot, what did your combat look like?
So I wanted to deploy some Nexus drones while descending from the sky. So I think you see some of these little drones come out and try and take care of one or two of them that are kind of off from the main action. And this is like that classic Transformers scene where you transform mid-air, grab the two swords from the back of your helicopter part, and you do the three-point landing,
Yep.
like every superhero does,
Yep.
and just start chopping away. I'm used to these blades going round and round, so I think the legs are walking forward and the body is spinning and chop, chop, chop,
That's so
chop,
great.
chop.
I feel like, you know how in those old 80s cartoons, when something would happen in slow motion, it wouldn't really be slow motion. It would just be like frame, frame, frame.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
Yep.
that's him kind of landing in the middle of
Yeah.
this forest.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I loved every second of that. Why don't we do our roles kind of in sequence again, just to make sure we got them. Since you are all in your robot, well, I think Telecast, your attack is technically still in your truck form, right? So you will get to use that die. So why don't we go just down the row? So Darren, you'll get your resistance die, that's a D6. You'll get your alternate form die, that's another D6. Since this is robot fists, that's a third D6. And now you have some options. Are you going to spend any components, mark a charge, or spend a bond?
I think I will spend a component. Let's see, what's it called?
Actually, you know what? I didn't tell you what the
Articulated frame. So like my armor is kind of helping me do this break attack.
That sounds great. I didn't tell you what the difficulty is, so let me roll that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's my fault. I should have done that first. Just see if I want to mess with this at all. All right, so I rolled a 6 and an 8. I take the highest one, that's an 8, and I add 5. You all are trying to beat a 13 now. All right, so sorry, Darren, back to you. You had 3d6. You're going to spend articulated frame. That'll let you add a d4. Do you want to spend a charge or a bond to add to this pool?
Yeah, I'll spend a charge. I'm not really sure though how I could draw human affairs into this, so maybe it's
one of the interesting parts of this game. So that human affairs also is deduction and understanding.
Oh, okay. So maybe he was able to kind of suss out the patterns in their like little darting attacks at him while they were surrounding him,
Yep, I love it.
and hits the brakes at the best moment.
Perfect. So you're gonna roll I think it was 3d6, a d8, and a d4, right?
Okay. Should I go ahead and roll, or does everybody else assemble their pool first?
When it just because we're using the dice roller, why don't you roll and then so we're not all kind of rolling at the same time. That looks good. Just enough.
Yep, 13.
Not sure if you saw in the chat, Darren, but I just want to say I think Telecast is very cool.
Yeah, I would totally buy that toy.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I would. I just need you all to know that. When I was a kid, I grew up in Manhattan in New York City, and I would walk to and from school, and there was something called a 5 and 10 store. I don't know if those exist anymore, but you could get Transformers at the 5 and 10 store. So I would definitely stop in on my way home from school and check out all the new Transformers. That was in 1984. Okay. So Matthew, it is your turn to roll. You get the D6 for your resistance because you always get a D6. You do not get the D6 for your Chevy Corvette because you are not in Corvette form.
No problem.
You do get the D6 for robot fists, and now you have some choices to make. You can add a D4 by burning one of your components, which I think you probably want to do. You need to get above a 13.
So I actually want to do one of the charge moves that the other two have already done. And my suggestion, I think, is I would like to tap into Beyond Limits. And, you know, I want the joke here being is that as he, you know, unleashes Chopsocky Fury, he sort of channels like the robot equivalent of Chi and goes beyond limits, you know, exceeding your own specifications. And, you know,
I'm going to suggest, I appreciate that and I love it, but mechanically, you probably want to bring in Wheels Down because that's a D8.
that is true. So how about, let's see. So what does the Wheels Down stat specifically do? Hot pursuit, escape, navigation, and interfacing with human technology.
I mean, I think of that as speed. So basically, you are swinging, you are using karate with incredible speed.
Sure. Let's say we're doing I'm going Liu Kang on his ass, and Liu Kang will not be invented for 7 years until 7 years from now. But you know,
This will be the inspiration that causes that invention.
Yeah,
I know.
love it.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll mark a charge to make use of that. You've got 2d6 and a d8. I do recommend spending one of your components.
All right. For my components, I think when he does do his attack, he will finish off with the photonic carbines.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great. So now you're rolling 2d6, a d8, and a d4.
All right, let's see. 2d6 plus 1d8 plus 1d4. I don't know why that melody exists. It's a 3, an 8, a 2, and a 1.
Well, you're taking the two highest dice, which is a 2 and an 8, and that's a 10. And then you always add the d4, so that's another 2. So that's 12. So you did not exceed. So we will get to narrate how that didn't go so well for you. And now, Nicholas, how do you want Gyrobot to deal with this? Or
So as far as the dice pool, 2d6s. I'm gonna add those drones. They're kind of out there taking care of some of these motorcycle bots. And I do want to charge, and that is going to be beyond the limits again. And in this case, you saw the robot walking forward, torso turning, and chop, chop, chop. Now there's just too many joints that are articulated and turning 360 degrees, and it just does not make sense anymore.
I'm
360 no scope.
I mean, not to mix our metaphors here, but I am picturing General Grievous actually. So
I'm gonna have to Google that one.
oh, that's it's Star Wars. Please don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in the Star Wars knowledge.
You know what? I commend you. It is a lot of useless fact.
Oh, but I see this guy with 4 arms. I love
Yeah.
it.
And he's known
Ah.
for taking Jedi's lightsabers. And so he will attack with all of those lightsabers. All right. So you
I
had
would like to have 2 extra arms that ended out grabbing some of these guys as little katanas in comparison to my
I'd be
large.
I'd be happy having 1 extra arm just so I can type on the keyboard and drink coffee at the same time.
Yep.
all right. So I got 2d6, a d8, and a d4. Is that right?
That is correct. D8, D4.
Oh, you did great. So we had the 2 highest dice, which is a 5 and a 7. And
Yep.
then the d4 automatically gets added. So that is a 13.
Great.
All right. So I will distribute points quick. Matthew, you will narrate first since you failed. So how does this not go so well for Pathfinder?
So I didn't just rank last in the rolls. I fell short of the needed difficulty. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And this is according to the rules. This is called. They've got a specific name for it. Hang on. It's called suffering. Your hero suffers. So basically, it just means. I mean, you're not dead or you don't take any damage necessarily, but you don't end up quite on top as you had hoped. So.
No problem. I'm already I'm ready. So what happens is Pathfinder plants their foot back and then proceeds to do the chop talkie hayamu and tries to run up to one of them the motorcycle guys and just as they lift up their heel and try to do a whirling kick, the cycle sort of grabs it, and even as they try to keep consistent and keep pushing through the move and throwing punches, every punch is just rebuffed. I would even say that these guys, they scoff openly at the ridiculous maneuvers that Pathfinder is trying to pull on them.
Nice. Where does he end up? Is he pushed away? Is he damaged? Is he kind of how is he sort of taken out of the scene?
I'd say they get knocked on their ass and flat on their back.
Okay. Great.
Maybe with a corresponding mocking kick from the bad guys. It's like
All right. So since Darren, I'm gonna have you do telecast first and then we will end on Gyrobot. So tell us how telecast was victorious here.
Okay, so yeah, he slams on the brakes. One of the motorcycles slams into his back bumper and is kind of like stunned for a second. There's like sparks, and he rolls out of the impact into robot form, and he sees one of them like kick oh god, I'm blanking on the name. Kick Pathfinder, and it's like a slow motion, no, and he throws his shield and hits that guy, and it bounces off and like hits the stunned guy and comes back to him. And
yes, did you Captain America?
I did. And then it cuts to Gyrobot with the spinning blades, like kind of finishing the fight.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you. And Gyrobot, take us home.
Yeah. So you've once I acquire those 2 extra blades, then it's like it's helicopter on the ground time. And so like all 4 arms just go straight and the torso just starts spinning faster and faster. And I become like a top that just kind of barrels through them, stopping with the one that kicked my good friend Pathfinder down,
Nice.
being the last one to get decapitated.
But because it's robots, it's okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No one's really hurt. You are all, I mean, Pathfinder's down, but you're all standing kind of over these 3 motorcycles that are now kind of completely disabled here. You're reflecting on the moment. What does this conversation look like? How do you all kind of reflect on this moment and maybe what's in store for you next? Kind of want to hear the conversation between these giant robots.
Telecaster, are you okay? They didn't get you, did they?
Pathfinder goes, I'm fine.
Oh yeah, no. Let's look at Pathfinder. No, I had some extra armor bolted on. I'm fine.
Oh, good. Pathfinder, how are you doing? You're good, right?
I'd like to say, I think some people would say that their pride is injured, but I have too much of that on reserve.
Love it.
Oh my God.
All right. So I think we will end on a little bit of a cliffhanger, just to tee us up for the next scene, and that is that from the direction of the town, you hear some screams. Humans are screaming, and you hear the sound of metal warp technology being used for something or other. And we will
What does
find out.
metal warp sound like? Now I need to visualize it or auditorialize it.
Yeah, I always just think of like the transforming sound from the 80s cartoon, like sort of metallic, but a little bit organic as well. So, and definitely has, because it's the 80s, there's not a lot of digital technology around, and it's kind of got that that digital feeling on the air that you can all feel. Okay. Yes, sorry, Matthew.
I just want to say that big old throw the shield maneuver, like Darren goes on to inspire Kung Lao.
Yeah, I was waiting for that the whole session, so that was great. All right, so thank you. That was fantastic and a lot of fun, and allowed me to relive a little bit of my childhood. I'm gonna stop the record. Actually, are you okay doing Stars and Wishes on the recording, or would you rather me stop? Any preference? All right, let's go. So Darren, have you done Stars and Wishes before? Is that a thing that is familiar to you?
Yeah, I've done that once. Rich usually does Roses and Thorns, which is kind of the same thing. So,
more or less the same. I see Wishes more framing as less what didn't you like and more what should we do differently next time, or what do you want to do differently next time,
or even what things would you like to see?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
And actually, Matthew, if you wouldn't mind demonstrating and going first, can I get your Stars and Wishes?
Sure. For Stars, I mean, wow, this was a fun, wild experience. I have to admit that, as I said earlier, I was a little worried about the system, mostly because I didn't understand it, and not out of any objective real critique to be had about it. But no, this was great. I love how all the characters. I think Telecast is super cool. I'm already visualizing Pathfinder just deferring to them all the time in moments of on the field leadership. But and Gyrobot being like the real smooth operator, I think, among the 3 of us. So looks like you were wrong, Nicholas. Looks like I'm the comic relief. So yeah.
We all get a shot at comic relief.
We do. I think, in fact, in our Apocalypse World game, you were the closest thing we had to comic relief, insofar as one can have comic relief in that bleak, blasted world. Anyway, but enough referencing other games. I think as far as wishes go, what we've got a good thing going here is just like the shared buy-in among all us, elder millennials about our passion for the junk and the detritus of the 80s pop culture. And so, if we continue to buy into that and just sort of amp up, this, sort of this love letter to all things like late 20th century junk culture, I think we're gonna have a great time. So
Yeah.
that's my wish. Let's just crank this up.
Do this, but more so. I love it. That sounds great. Nicholas, stars and wishes.
I want to say one of the stars is this system. It plays as smoothly as I thought that it would. And thank you for running the robot version of this system. That's super cool. And then I think that the three of us as a party is just really gelling. So I'm excited about the versatility of the team. We only did one little combat, but I think we did it really well. That's it for stars.
And wishes.
I don't know that I have any wishes. This was just really good. We just need to do this again.
Well, guess what?
That's the plan.
Darren, stars and wishes.
Let's see, stars. I kind of enjoyed the creativity at the table. That was really fun. I really like the explanation of the system and the system hack. Yeah, I don't know. I could definitely visualize the other two characters and the visual references, like the kind of tequila sunrise thing and stuff.
Oh, is that what it's called? Awesome.
I think that's what it's called. Also, I'd like to point out I am not a millennial. I'm Gen X.
Thank you. Yes.
I am as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's see, wishes. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the alien technology is, and the description of the sound effects got me really interested. Also, I think maybe we should have a public service announcement at the end of our discussion, like 80s
that
cartoons.
is great.
We should come up with what would our characters do for the PSA for the kids.
I already know what
I have a wish now, and that is my wish as well.
Okay.
I know exactly what this episode's PSA was. It's about fire safety. It's about evacuation. It's about following procedure and leaving the building in a calm and orderly fashion.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was so good.
That's great, Darren.
Sometimes I feel like I play 2 hours of games just to get to stars and wishes, just so someone can say something awesome like that.
Oh, thank you.
This
You
was-
guys are too kind.
Yeah, no, this was worth it. Just to bring back that memory.
And not to split hairs, by the way, it's just there's an overlap between elder millennial, meaning like the oldest of the millennials, and the younger of the Gen X.
No.
I'm a psychologist and anthropologist by training, so this is the thing I obsess about.
So
I
you
think Nicholas and Darren fall in the shampoo planet generation of Generation X versus the Generation X of Generation X. Those are two different novels by the same guy who popularized the term Gen X, except he had an older character in Gen X and a younger character in Shampoo Planet. But I'm just
I will
nerd.
say that I self-identify as a Gen Xer. That's
you
what
really?
I grew up
Yeah,
with.
and that's valid.
Everyone saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone that went to school with me said this is Gen X. It was
Yeah.
the tail end of it, but definitely
Yeah.
self-identified as Gen X
Same.
by all my
Same.
peers.
Oh, and I was a psychologist before I went on disability. So,
Oh yeah.
yep, definitely identify with that. So,
stars. I've played with Nicholas and Matthew before. I just love playing with you guys. You are all in, and I so appreciate that. And that is exactly what this game needs. Darren, it's great to play with you. I love playing with new players. I thought you brought some A game. I loved the concept of telecast. I loved how you kind of pulled it all together and really realized a lot of kind of these cool components and features in this concept of a news van. So so stars to you for a star to you for pulling off a great character and gelling with this ragtag group of role playing.
Thank
I
you.
have one bonus star.
Oh,
I
more.
always like a subtle, understated move. So I really appreciated the just slam on the brakes as like the answer
Yeah.
for how am I dealing with this situation?
And my wishes for next time, I think I was just grabbing some random trials from the book that they, the little PDF. But I think my wish for myself next time is maybe to write some of my own, so they're a little bit more fleshed out. I kind of felt like I was grasping at straws there. It worked. It was great. You all did great, and I really had a good time. But I would definitely like to have maybe a little bit more, give myself a few more hooks for next time. Do you think for next time, let's see, we'll probably do for 3 or 4 more roles, like big vignettes. Should we just stay in this, or do you want to finish this one up and then do another mission? Do you have any preferences?
I have an answer to that, which is like, sorry, Nicholas. I have.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Someone say something.
Matthew, go.
Matthew,
Okay,
go.
all right. No, I'll just say, like, if you do want to stay in here, I think that's potentially exciting because I guess you could take this, because I read like some of the like templates there, and not this one, but because it wasn't the first one. And yeah, they're very bare, but there's a lot of material. There's a lot of like ways of like stretching it into like a really fully developed mystery. And if you want to like color in those lines, I think that has the potential to be really, really, really cool and exciting. But I think it also works. An argument can be made that it also works to be able to just jump from scene to scene and like have so many different misadventures. But what's Nicholas's thoughts?
I think we only got 3 rolls in. I think there's a lot more to be explored in this one set, if you will. So I am a fan of let's dig a little deeper on this one and just
let's learn more about Plutonian Steel. What's that guy up to, right?
Yeah, so this would be in Aegon speak. This would basically be considered we're doing a single island.
Yeah.
In that, which is fine, which is great for a 2-shot. So that works.
Cool.
All right, friends, I'm going to stop the recording.